But for the simple-minded, for the foolish man, I should say, for the foolish man or woman who believes they don't need help, they don't need anything, they have already arrived, they have already scaled the highest potential, and they don't want to surrender to the wisdom of God. They don't want to worship God. They don't want to reverence God. They don't want to surrender, submit all of who they are because of who He is. That affects the lives of other people. See, so I got to say to Dad, who's out there saying, hey, well, if I don't give my life to God and I don't go to church, I don't walk in the ways of God, that's my decision. That's just, that only affects me. No, I'm sorry, because the moment that man became a father, now you're dad, now your actions impact the actions of your children. For that person, that believer, who is wrestling in a relationship with a non-believer, you understand that the non-believer impacts what happens in your life. Let me put it this way. Our decisions, they do matter. They not only matter to what happens to us, but they have an impact on the people around us. And sometimes when we're not embracing life, we are not the only ones that are losing out, but those who are around us are also having life affected in them. And sometimes we find that we are doing so much damage, we're destroying the life around us, running to evil, taking or shedding innocent blood. Innocent life is being lost because of decisions that we make. So here's the teaching point. Verse 19 is a strong verse here in the opening verses of Proverbs chapter 1, because it's going to deal with our greed. Wow. Greed. Interesting. Greed destroys life. Not some life, all life. Greed destroys life. And in verse 19, it says, so are the ways of everyone that is what? Greedy of gain. Our ways affect the ways or the paths of other people. And when our ways are so greedy, so focused on what we can gain, remember I said to you in a previous teaching, Jesus in our New Testament scriptures, he says to us, what profited a man to gain the whole world? There's that word, gain, the whole world, but to what? Lose his soul. What does it profit you or I to gain so much material wealth, value, possessions, and then we lose the most important core element available to us? Life. God has given us life. And sometimes we're willing to give up life so that we can gain the values or what are advertised as the greater material values of the world that we live in. So Solomon sees that coming in advance. And he says, so are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Our greed becomes a problem when our greed is taking away something that belongs to someone else. In what we call the Ten Commandments, we have two categories that the commandments are identified in. Commandments in category 1 are relative to our man's relationship and his interaction with God. That's the first 5 commandments. Commandments 6 through 10, you check this out. They're relative or related to man's relationship to other man. Man to man, human to human contact, how we correspond and relate to each other.